Over the years, our report has assisted governments in this area, especially in the upstream petroleum sector. The fora we've been having has gone a long way to guide governments in how petroleum revenue will be utilized. And that is what we've been doing over the years. Your Excellency, we have observed just some few months ago about some developments in the sector on the utilization of the revenue. And precisely that has to do with the amendment of the PRMA. And we commend you for the amendment in the sense that the annual budget funding amount, which basically should support government budgets, the amendment seeks to ensure that this fund is used mainly for infrastructure projects. And that is very commendable. And we at PIAC sees that as a good initiative. But we have some proposals. And that is the fact that over the years, we've realized that sometimes these funding are commingled with other funds. So you don't really see that this is a project funded by the petroleum revenue. So our proposal is that if a project is earmarked for funding through petroleum revenue, then it should be from start to finish. 2015, your good self, during your first term, initiated an amendment which put PIAC on the ABFA. So a portion of petroleum funds were coming directly to us. We don't know what we did. Your Excellency comes back, and the very thing he made for us, now he's taking it away. And it's been a source of worry for us. It has really affected our operations. And as we speak, you know, we received our first quota, 1.5 million. Since April, we haven't received anything. The nature of our work, you know, requires that we move around. As we speak, there are a lot of programs and reports and other things we have to do that, because of funding, we have not been able to do. So it is our hope that this amendment will be rectified. Apart from our problems, our own problems, we also saw some decline in petroleum production. But we realized that since 2019, there has been a constant decline. We had 71 million barrels in 2019. Last year, it was 43 million barrels. So we had a workshop, and some issues were identified. I remember we submitted a communique to your predecessor, but the issues are still relevant for us. And we commend your government. I mean, since you took over, we've seen some improvement in the upstream sector. I mean, the resolution of the conflict between Springfield and Eni, exactly, and then the bringing on board resumption of work in the two wells. I mean, so that is commendable, and we hope that things will improve.
I appreciate the opportunity to meet with this all-important committee. It's held as a model for other countries that are following in our footsteps since we discovered oil and gas in commercial quantities. And so our model of PRMA with the Public Interest Accountability Committee are, models that other countries are looking to emulate. We met the sector in quite deep crisis. Yeah, there was disillusionment amongst all the investors in the sector. And so our first focus was to reassure them and build confidence again in Ghana's prospects with regards to the upstream. And so I held several meetings with all the players, and they identified what the issues had been, and we've sat and resolved as many of them as we can. As you can see, ENI is back with a bang, and they are devoting more resources to expanding production in Sankofa, and then the adjoining compartments that we gave them. One of the major game changers will be the Pecan field. Unfortunately, it's delayed for so long. And so I held some meetings with the African Finance Corporation and Lukoil, who are the partners there. And we also got Shell, because Shell had expressed an interest. And recently they made an offer, for Pecan. So we're waiting to see what the response will be so that we can move that forward. If we move that forward, it will be good for our oil and gas production, because it means in the next 3-4 years, if we can bring that well on stream. We decided that Ghana has a major infrastructure deficit, and the intention of the annual budget funding amount was to channel the resources into what is tangible and can, show the benefits of the blessing of the natural resource that God gave us. Unfortunately, over the years, the money, you don't really see what is happening. So we decided that we'll commit the money to what we call the big push, because we have an infrastructure deficit of almost $1.5 billion every year in terms of infrastructure investments, between 1.5 and 2 billion. And so we said, well, we'll implement the big push, which will be a $2 billion a year investment in infrastructure for 5 years. And so the intention is to invest 10 billion over 5 years in infrastructure. And that includes both roads and bridges and important infrastructure that are transformational and have a rate of return in terms of tolling and productivity and bringing goods to the market and all that. And then also in educational infrastructure, in health infrastructure, and especially in agricultural productivity in terms of irrigation and so on and so forth. One of the major things will be disaggregating the revenues like you raise, so that we can track. And maybe if the responsibility for all natural resources were put under PIAC, then it will make it easier to track and trace. Yeah, but the ABFA is going there, and then mineral royalties from gold is also going into the big push. So we need to get the minister to disaggregate it properly, so that we know exactly what you are monitoring. The minister is going to present the mid-year review of the budget, and so I'll draw attention to your particular case so that he can up the budget and then also speed up the release. But all in all, we appreciate the work you do, and we're committed to it because it fits into the reset agenda that we've been pursuing, that there must be increased transparency. We must fight against corruption so that we're able to save resources and put them in the areas that will transform the lives of our people and create opportunities for our young people who are coming up.